Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show, Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today, we're going to take a first look at the PS12 Pro standalone DSP from Arc Audio. We're going to show you some cool new features that it has. 12 channels, as well as show you a couple options that are available for you, and also we're going to show you how to set up the input-output mixer so that if you do have one of these, you can get it hooked up and get started and then figure the rest out on your own. Just kidding, you could watch a video that we've done with Brian or several other videos we have available to you. Let's roll the intro. Like most new products, let's take a look at the box and see what this will gleam for us. iData ready when equipped with iData AR modules. This is one of the only DSPs, being Arc Audio, that you can plug an AR directly into and use this right with the factory radio. For those of you that are familiar with like a DSR1, this is another DSP that works the exact same way. Optional accessories, external controller ready when equipped with a Arc Audio controller. So there's a couple controllers that you can get for this. Optional Wi-Fi controller equipped with digital sound processor ready, equipped 12 channel output, 8 channels of analog input, as well as equipped with a Toshlink and coaxial digital input. In the other corner, it says 12 channel advanced audiophile digital sound processor. On the back of the box, don't you just hate it when you're singing along with a song and the artist gets the words wrong? I mean, that's pretty much my life right there. On the far sides, you get serial numbers, and on the other side, more serial numbers. Let's slide it out of the box. Inside are going to be a bunch of foam and packages. All the new Arc Audio DSPs are now programmed through a USB-C connection as opposed to all that other nonsense, and they give you a beautiful one to plug it in. In the bottom of the box, it comes with your RCA to speaker level inputs. There's no big plugs on the side of this to do that, which I'll show you in a second. They just give you RCAs so that you can plug right into the RCAs. It helps to reduce the size of the unit, therefore it doesn't have like a high level input side and a low level input side. It's all the same. It gets done through the software as far as how it handles the voltage input. And then there is one power plug that plugs into the side. Outside of that, that's really all that comes in the box other than the unit itself. If you're familiar with the PS8 Pro, then you're going to be happy to know that this is basically the same size. The big difference is obviously we now have more outputs. People have been asking for, hey, can you give us more channels of output? This has 4 more channels. They also make the PS16 Pro. So if you need even more than 12, you're good to go there. Let's take a look at the sides of the DSP. This is the business end of the DSP where you have your 1 through 8 channels of input. And if you have to use line level in, you can use their provided RCA male tip will plug in. Then you can connect your high voltage speaker level outputs directly to these inputs. That allows them, as I said, to keep this nice and compact. Next up is your optical input, your BTM. There's a switch down here that says DC, off, and signal. This is how you're going to control your turn on if you're hooking up high level, low level, type of scenarios you need to get into. If this is going to be using RCAs and you're going to be running remote turn on, you're going to leave it in the off position. If you're going to be doing high level, then you're going to want to either put it in DC for the DC offset sense or signal sense if for some reason the DC offset isn't working. Now this guy right here is unique. This little oddball here that looks like, you know, a power supply input that you might see on a home unit. And that's exactly what it is. If you have a 12 volt power supply that you want to power this up inside of your house to plug it in and see what it's doing, you can do that. Down across the bottom here, you have your status light output, the input for the PSC controller, the input for the LR1 bass knob or level controller, that USB-C. Over here, this little white connector is the iData link input. You still have a port for the AXP, and then you have your power line input here across the top. 12 volts in, ground, remote out, remote in. No matter what you're doing in any scenario, whether you're doing RCA, whether you're doing line level, if you're using your AutoSense DC signal, it doesn't matter. Always use the remote out to turn on all of the amplifiers. Not some of the amplifiers, all of the amplifiers. There is an adjustable delay in here. For some reason, if you get a pop or you need to adjust the timing, this is controlled through the software. Then you have P1 and P2. P1 and P2 can be assigned to EQ settings and a simple toggle switch. That means if you want to do preset 1, preset 2, and you don't want to have to add a controller. So for example, I have a convertible, and if I could find the pin switch that controls my convertible top, and I would like to change the sound of it when the top goes down, I could use these to do that without having to put a controller somewhere on my dash. One other that I'd like to call a hidden gem on this unit is this little switch right here that says force on. It's exactly what it sounds like. It forces the unit on. Now where does that become helpful? If you're working on a car that push to start and the car tends to keep shutting off. If you flick this to force on, this will keep everything on, meaning it'll keep the remote turn on, it'll keep the unit on. It is no longer looking for signal sense, remote turn on, or anything like that. This is also helpful if you're doing a software update. Regardless of whether it's a key, a button, or whatever, and you don't want this to shut off and break the unit, you can flick this little force on right here, and this will make this unit stay on through the whole process. Now keep in mind, when you're done, make sure you turn this back off, because the amplifiers are going to stay on, everything is going to stay on. If you walk away from the vehicle, you're going to have a dead battery at some point. Let's flip it over and take a look at the other side. It does have some text down here in the bottom where it says, engineered in the USA by Nikola Industries. So for those of you that don't know who Nikola Industries are, it is Robert Zeff and his crew. We have our 12 outputs located on this side, starting at 1 down to 12. Now looking at the top of the unit, there's 4 screws that you can see, and of course it has profile 1, profile 2, turn on in, turn on out LEDs across the top. If we remove the screws, this shiny black piece of acrylic here will pop right off, and that's just what it is. It's a shiny black piece of acrylic. So if you'd like to make your own name badge or something like that, there is a light behind it that lights this up. It also means you can rotate it 180 degrees, 90 degrees, whatever you want to do. So depending on how you're going to mount this, let's say you want to put it like this, you can do it like that, or the RCAs need to be this way, you can put it like that. So you can move this any way you want. And not only that, if you lift up on this piece here and set it aside, this piece will also allow you to spin it in all those directions. So it's not just the acrylic, it's the whole thing can easily be spun around so that you can move it any way you want. And if you look down in there, you can see the design of the circuit board, which Arc Audio loves to do. They put artwork on them to places you'll never get to see them, which is kind of a bummer. You can also wiggle this and it will come out all together. Now there's a bunch of screws on this, and I know you guys, I know how you are. You want me to pull them all out and take a look at the inside. Let me see what I can do to make you happy. And after moving a surprisingly large quantity of screws, we can get a look at what the inside of the circuit board looks like. And this one is Denali in memory of Bill. We have the Arc Audio logo here, McKinley PS8 16 Pro, revision, all the fun numbers that you would hope to see on top of here. We slide it out and we flip it over. Basically we have a negative of it here on the back side. And of course there's just a ton of stuff going on inside of this. And let me put all the screws back in. With Arc Audio introducing a ton of new products this year, one of the newest, aside from these DSPs, is the new copper line, which is this amplifier right here. There's 3 amplifiers in the copper line, the CU 4.2, the CU 6.2, and the CU 4.4. Arc Audio was thinking a little bit ahead because there was multiple things happening at the same time. And well, you know, as much as this would look really cool next to one of these amplifiers, let's be honest, it wouldn't look cool at all. If you're planning on running the new coppers, they have made this guy right here that is designed to match up to the coppers. That way, when you get your new PS8 12 16 Pro, we can put this guy onto here like so, line up our screw holes, and now we have a matching set that we can proudly display next to our copper amplifiers. How cool is that? What do you think, Fernando?
I think it looks amazing.
These coppers are going to be going into Fernando's car, and of course we had to make sure we got the matching cover for them. If you'd like to pick up this beautiful copper colored cover for any reason, whether you have the copper amplifiers or not, you just like silver as opposed to black, you can do that from your local ARC Audio dealer, as well as you can order it directly on the website. It's available as an option when looking up your DSP. Now, one other thing before we get to the input-output mixer and how that is going to work so you guys can get your unit up and running. If you're thinking about getting one of these, of course, specifications are awesome. And if you head over to the website, you select car audio, you can come down to sound processors, select standalone, and they list the PS16 Pro, the PS12 Pro, the PS8 Pro, the new PS 6.8 Pro, the PSM Pro. Read more. Right here at the top of the page, you can see where it gives you the option for the original black cover or the copper. And then if you scroll down, you have description, which will give you a brief overview of basically what we're doing. But specifications, for those of you nerds that want to know all of the cool stuff, they do a really good job of breaking that down to tell you processor resolution, fixed point native 32-bit, main DSP processor, analog device, ADAU1462, analog to digital converters. They're using dual AKM Velvet Sound 5558Bs, and then the DAC digital to analog converter, they're using the AKM Velvet Sounds AK4438, and so on and so forth. As you're scrolling down, they give you a ton of information about their unit, and of course they give you a tab to download the DNA software, which is what you're gonna need in order to set one of these up. If you haven't figured it out by now, ARC Audio loves to tell you about their products. They are very proud of them. They're nerds themselves that love using these things. They have them in their cars. They want you to have them in your car. So if you get somebody on the phone, chances are good they're going to have one of these units in their car to help you, so they will know what they are talking about. Let's head over to the Windows laptop and take a look at how to set up this input mixer. Once you get through the startup page, select the gear over here on the left side of the software. You have input channels and output channels, and these are fully customizable. For example, if I would like to change my input 1 to driver left and input 2 to driver right, I can do that. If I'm using my digital inputs, I can leave it at left and right, and if I'm not going to be using these, I can put NA and shut them off so that when I'm going through, I know that they're not part of the system. Or if I'm just doing a 4-channel input, I can put this rear left and rear right, and we'll call 5 subwoofer. We'll leave that at that for right now. I can also pick whatever color I want for my buttons. On my output channels, I can label these anything as well. Output 1, driver's tweeter, pass tweeter, and so on and so forth all the way down. Let me do this real quick. We're gonna set it up for a 3-way, for tweeter, mid bass, rear, center, and then 2 subwoofers. If I'm going to be using a subwoofer level control, select the box with the arrow leading away from it, go over to the last tab, which is remote. Here it'll say the LR1 remote. Click on the drop down arrow and scroll down to the end of the page and tag my 2 subwoofers. Now I can use the LR remote to do anything. If I wanted to control the rear volume, the main volume, all of the volumes as a master volume, I can do anything I want with the LR1. The most common use for it is just for subwoofer. With my basic channel routing done and I have my LR1 set up, go up to Tools and select Mixer Assistant from the drop down menu. This is going to pull up this page here. I like to start by selecting all off, clearing the menu of everything that I'm looking at. You can also see over here where it has added in my labels on both sides, the input side as well as the output side. And these lines are going to correspond to channels on the other side. I can choose quick start here. So if I know I have 6 in, 8 out, I can do something like this and it'll tell me which buttons to put on. And then if I have over here 6 in, 12 out, I could do this and it'll autofill for me. I like to set it up myself, so depending on what I'm going to be using. So for example, if I'm going to be using up mixer for center, front, rear, sub, I'd simply just click these 2 and then come over here and just turn on my 2 subwoofers like this, and I'm gonna close out of this for a minute and go back to my settings, and right here on the same page that I was on with my input, right here, click Enable Up Mixer, then go back to Tools, Mixer Assistant, and now you'll see that box is highlighted, and I have left, center, right, and surround. For this case, my tweeters are gonna be 1 and 2, which is left and right. My mid-range will also be left and right, and my mid-bass will be left and right. My rear surrounds are next, followed by my center channel, and then way over here I have my subwoofers on these 2 channels over here, and that would give me a full surround sound system using the up mixer. If you're going to be doing this, I do recommend doing this last, meaning tune the car, do all your EQ work and all that, then come back and turn on the up mixer. And how I would set that up is turn on the first 5 inputs, and then because you're using a mono sub input, select the 2 next to one another. If I follow this line here are my 2 tweeters, here are my 2 mid-range, here are my 2 mid-bass. Next are my rears, followed by the center, which I will just turn on left and right at the same time. We're gonna skip the next one because there's nothing there, and we'll roll down here and turn on our subwoofers. This will give us inputs across the board for all our channels. There's a bunch of different ways that we can set this up in order to route these channels through depending on what we're trying to do. And that is why this section is so important, to get your sound into the corresponding channels of the amplifier. Now this is also where your high level input is going to be done too. This setup would be primarily for RCAs, but you might have to sum some channels in, and you're going to be doing that through here as well. That's why there's all these options for turning things on. This looks like a tweeter and a mid-range. You might have to turn more of these on to input those in, and then if you right click on, you can adjust the input sensitivity for it. So if you need to gain up or gain down, you can do that here as well. But at the end of the day, the goal of course is to make your car sound amazing. Baby steps your way through this. If you're new to the whole DSP thing, make sure to check out the interview we did with Brian Mitchell where he goes through and breaks down the whole DSP. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. There's a ton of other features. There's a ton of features built into this DSP that'll allow you to do almost anything you can think of with your sound. And with that being said, that's where we're gonna end it for now. Fernando?
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We hope you like it. Make sure you head over to arcaudio.com and check out what they got going on. Yeah, that's it. Good night, guys. Bye.